Welcome back to another video, and finally I am getting around to ranking the Strapping Young Lad albums. Yes, that's right. All of the Strapping Young Lad albums. I'm going to be doing No Sleep Till Bedtime as well, so how about that? And yes, I have no hair now. Fuck you, don't judge me, you mother... Now, as usual, I haven't prepared for this in any way, shape or form. However, I'm so familiar with the albums, so I'm just going to go through them. But we will do a brief introduction to the history of the band. This is straight off of Wikipedia. I could have easily, written something out, but I didn't. So, Strapping Young Lad was, past tense, unfortunately, they're no more, was a Canadian extreme metal band formed by Devin Townsend in Vancouver in 1994. Now, this was one thing that is very important. Devin Townsend was in Steve Vai's band, actually. Yes, Devin Townsend was actually on a Steve Vai album, Sex and Religion, which is actually a great album. There's some fucking cracking songs on this. Which was his real first foray into professional musicianship. And let's just say he was less than impressed with what he saw there. What he thought the industry was going to be and what it turned out to be were two completely different things. And he's kind of been rebelling against it ever since. Strapping Young Lad was a big part of it. Strapping Young Lad was a big middle finger to the industry that he did not want to be a part of. Anyway, I've gone off script. So the band started as a one-man studio project with Devin Townsend. The first album, Heavy Is a Really Heavy Thing, is... well, actually, we'll get to that in a minute. There's tons of musicians on that one. But yeah, he played most of the instruments on that debut, and it wouldn't be until 1997's City that we actually get the proper lineup of the band. Why is the lighting so fucking bad? Do you know what? I think we'll probably be better off just going through the albums and just doing it one by one. So now, usually when I do these rankings, I don't include live albums. However, there are only actual 5 studio albums for Strapping Young Lad. So I am actually going to include No Sleep Till Bedtime, because it does have a couple of bonus tracks on there. Plus it has... we'll get there. I'm getting ahead of myself. Starting out with Heavy As a Really Heavy Thing. This was released April 4th, 1995 via Century Media. I think all of them were, everything was Century Media actually for this band, so that makes things easier in that respect. This particular edition has a bunch of bonus tracks. Unfortunately, I don't have my original copies of both this and City. I wish I hadn't gotten rid of them back in the day, but these are the special edition versions with some extras on there, which is always nice. Now, this album is an interesting one. This is very much, like I say, a fuck you to the industry by Devin Townsend. He was so disillusioned with the music industry after everything that he went through with Steve Vai, who he is now very good friends with and has reconciled a lot with him. But there was a lot that he was rebelling against with this album. There were a lot of stories about how Devin was sending out demo cassettes to all sorts of people. He sent them out to Roadrunner, all the different labels, and he got rejected by most of them. The demo was kind of a bit schizophrenic, I believe it was called by one executive, because it essentially comprised material that would be on this album and on his solo album Ocean Machine, which is an amazing album. There's always been a bipolar element to Devin Townsend. Literally, he was diagnosed with bipolar, but he's always, every time he's done the extreme stuff, he's always written a counterpart to it as well. So throughout Devin's career, you have the incredibly heavy stuff, and then you have also the more mellow ambient thing. Anyway, this album comprised of a lot of the heavier stuff. I don't believe Devin's actually a huge fan of this album. I've heard him refer to this as essentially a bunch of demos that ended up making up an album. But having said that, I think there's some great stuff on here. The opening track, SYL, is so damn good. I fucking hate you. I can't remember how many times that is uttered in the song, but it's such a damn good song, such an anthemic song. In the Rainy Season, there's a really great song. There's an amazing breakdown section in the middle of the song that really... why the fuck is that light so bad? Goat is a cool song. Cod Metal King, I really enjoy that song. There's a couple of riffs on here as well that will reappear on some other albums, which is something that Devin's done quite a lot as well. You can hear when he's been doing some of the heavier stuff and some of the more mellow stuff, he has riffs that have kind of been utilised on both, and he's taken them off in different directions. So there's some interesting stuff on this. Overall, I think this is actually a really, really fun album. You'll see that I've only got 4 tiers in this. I mean, there's only 6 albums that we're going to be going through. There are no bad Strapping Young Lad albums, in my opinion. I'm going to put this one in B tier because it is a lot of fun. Despite what Devon may think of it, I think there's some really fun songs on here. Critic is a real great song with Filler, Skin Me, Drizzle Hell, which is the... There's also a track on here called Satan's Ice Cream Truck, which is just kind of a very strange, very strange fun song. But we've also got some bonus tracks on here, but we'll get to those on a later album. Although it is worth saying that there's the cover of Judas Priest's Exciter as a bonus track of this one, and that he does an amazing job. His vocals are up there with Rob Halford in terms of the high-pitched stuff, what he can do. His range is just stunning. I fucking love Devon Townsend. He's amazing. Okay, now we're getting into some serious shit. I think this next album is going to be the album that anyone who isn't really aware of Strapping Young Lad, they're probably still aware of this album, or at least they've heard of this album. Released February 11th, 1997. City. I'm not going to fuck around. This one for me goes straight in S tier. It is an absolutely fucking crucial album. This album, I got this album shortly after it came out. There was a compilation CD. It was either Metal Hammer or Kerrang. I can't remember which. That had Detox and Underneath the Waves. I can't remember if they were on the same compilation or it might have been on 2 different compilations released kind of, shortly after one another. And I as soon as I heard Detox, that was the first song I ever heard, I had to get it. I had to buy the album, and I went out and got it. I was absolutely blown away. I listened to that album so damn much over the years that it genuinely did something to my brain in a I'm not sure it was a good way. It was I listened to it so much, these songs are just in my head. It's just a fucking amazing album. This would be I didn't really go too much into who was on the first album because there were so many different people, but this album would cement the Strapping Young Lad lineup, that being Devon Townsend on guitar and vocals, the mighty Gene Hoglan, the Atomic Clock himself on drums. We had Byron Stroud, the bass monster, fucking huge presence, and Jed Simon on guitar as well. An incredibly underrated rhythm guitar player, Jed Simon is. Absolutely, I love this band. The 4 of them together was just something special, man. This album is full on just insanity in terms of, this is industrial extreme metal. There's so many different elements that comprise this album. If you haven't listened to this album, please do. It is an all-time classic. It's absolutely amazing. Things get off heavy as fuck straight away with Velvet Kevorkian. They quite often started their live shows with this. It's a great opener. It just pummels along. It's only a short song, but that goes into All Hail the New Flesh, which is an absolute statement of intent. This is Devon saying, I want it all. No fear, no compromise. And it's just, he's just laying it all out there. We're going to take over the fucking planet. Oh my fucking God sounds exactly as you would think it was. There's a sample at the beginning of it, which for years I thought was like from a movie, like from some old sci-fi movie. I remember that I think he did an interview recently with somebody. I can't remember who it was. I'm not doing very well, am I? But it turned out the sample was actually from some like old documentary or something like that. He found it in the Canadian library, sort of had the bunch of audio samples and stuff like that, and he actually found it from there. So that was a really, really cool opening. But oh my fucking God, sounds exactly as the title suggests. It's just frenetic. It's fucking amazing. It's just, Detox is crazy. From what I understand, this was written about a bad acid trip that he had. I think Bastard on Ocean Machine was also part of that as well. I think it was Bastard. It might have been a different song. But this was about an incredibly bad acid trip that he had. And it sounds like it. The breakdown section in the middle of this is still one of my all-time favourite moments in music. Not just Strapping Young Lad. It's so emotional. How did I reach this state? everyone's looking at me, fuck, my head's fucked, you know what I mean? It's so damn good, and it's such a good indication of just how amazing Devin Townsend is, how amazing he is at evoking emotion. Unlike me speaking, Home Nucleonics is fucking great. We get this real nice, almost gabba techno breakdown section in it. It's fucking great. Triple A is such a messed up song. I believe AAA is actually the tuning of all the strings that he does. The strings are actually tuned to AAA, and it's just a really fucked up Marilyn Manson-esque kind of a vibe to it. Really cool. Underneath the Waves is amazing. It's got this fantastic thrash section in the middle of the song. Amazing. Room 429 is a cover by a band called Cop Shoot Cop. Takes things off in a different direction. It's more of it's got a real sinister vibe, but it works really well. It's just so the track listing, the sequencing of this album is just so ingrained in my brain now that to me it's perfect. And Spirituality is a real departure from the rest of the album. It has much more sort of droning, the rest of the album is very immediate, very pummeling. Spirituality is a bit more, considered, but absolutely insanely good album. I fucking love this album. It's one of my top albums of all fucking time, and I just adore it. It's amazing. Now this is the one with a bunch of bonus tracks, but again, so they're going to talk about some of those in a minute. The rest of it's just demos, so not essential stuff at all, but the album itself, fucking amazing, absolutely amazing. God, stop going on, Ben. Now, as I said, we've only got 5 albums in the discography, so I am actually going to include No Sleep Till Bedtime. This is a live album, and even in the liner notes, Devin's quite open that there are overdubs, and they've done things to make the album sound better, but as he rightly says in the liner notes, so does every fucking band. So I think this is absolutely a fantastic album. The live performance itself is great. Actually, hang on, sorry, when was this released? This was October 12th, 1997. And it was recorded live in Melbourne, Australia. And of course, the title of the album is sort of, a take on Motorhead's No Sleep Till Hammersmith. So, the actual live performance itself is great. Really shows what a force the band were. But the reason I'm including this is because we've got 3 tracks that up until this point were completely new. Now, the first one being Far Beyond Metal. That track would appear on a later album. We'll get to that then. But this was our first introduction of it. And I prefer this. I prefer the live version infinitely more than the studio version that they do later. Even though there were good parts of that album, that version, fucking great. But we also get bonus tracks Japan and Centipede. And they're just really cool songs. They both Japan has a really dark, sinister vibe that works so well, and Centipede has an almost disco beat to it. In fact, it reminds me very much of Donna Summer's I Feel Love. Is that the song? I could go on. Really cool tracks, and the reason I think it's worth mentioning is because fuck you. Hi, that metal bloke. Oh, fuck off. TikTok trying to get me to be friends with somebody. That's not happening. I think one of the reasons that these songs mean a lot to me is because there's a huge gap between the release of City and the next album. In fact, I think it was about 6 years. City was released in 1997. The next album was 2003. So there was a huge gap. So for a good 6-year period, all we had was the first 2 albums and this and these extra tracks. So I've listened to these a ton over the years. That being said, I am going to put this one in C tier because out of all the albums, it's definitely the one that's, not essential, but I think, I think purely because I've been listening since the very beginning, I got really, you know what I'm saying? There was a while where this was kind of all we had, so I still think it's a damn well worth thing to words. Okay, now we get to quite a controversial album, and that is the self-titled album released on February 11th, 2003. I'll straight up say, when this album came out, I was very, very disappointed with it. I don't think that's an uncommon reaction to this album, because, again, 6 years between albums, part of me was expecting a continuation of City, and that is not what this is. This is pretty much a death metal album. I will say, however, I have grown very fond of this album. I think there are some absolutely amazing songs. Have you ever had one of those albums where you thought you didn't actually know it that well, and then years later you listen to it again? Oh, I know this. Oh, I know this. Oh, no, I know this. Because I think I've just listened to individual songs so much throughout the years that I was actually surprised to find that actually this is an incredibly cohesive album, and I absolutely fucking love it. Now, Devin himself is not a big fan of this album. He was writing this at the same time as Accelerated Evolution. And in fact, Bring On the Young, there's the opening riff to the kind of clean section. There's also a riff on Accelerated Evolution that kind of mirrors that riff, and he goes off in a different direction with it. So that's worth checking out. But yeah, this was... Devin still wrote most of the music, but I think he was kind of much more focused on Accelerated Evolution. That's where his head was at the time. So the rest of the band really picked up, really took up the slack. And I think they did a fucking great job. Dire is a great opening track. Consequence is relentless as hell. Speaking of relentless, the next track, Relentless, is amazing. It's such a full-on, heavy as fuck death metal type song, but with Devin doing his cleaner operatic vocals, and it works incredibly well. It's almost like death metal Iron Maiden or something. You know what I mean? It's just so damn good. Aftermath is a essential Strapping Young Lad song. Devour is great. Divide. I could go on. Force Fed, Dirt Pride, Bring On the Young. I think this is an incredibly underrated album. As I said, I did not like this one at all when it first came out. I was very disappointed with it, but over the years, this one has really, really grown on me. So much so that I'm going to put this one in A tier. I think it's an absolutely fucking cracking album. I really do. It's so damn good. And it's just... it's so damn heavy. It's a joy to listen to. So there. Next up, we have, released on March the 22nd, 2005, another fan favourite, and with good reason, Alien. Fuck, man. This is a damn good album. Now, this saw Devin really immerse himself back with the band. I think it's fair to say he's had a lot of mental issues over the years, and one thing that he's talked a lot about since his disbanding Strapping Young Lad was the mental toll that this band was taking on him. He was pretty much seen as he was the main songwriter. I mean, Devin Townsend's a genius. We all know that. However, he's one of those people that when he gets into something, he puts absolutely everything into it. So I think a lot of this stuff was fulfilling album obligations. I think he kind of wanted to. In fact, I've actually got his biography, and there's a chapter called the fastest way out is through, and I think that's where he kind of looked at a lot of these later albums, was like, okay, let's just get them done and I can get out of this contract and I don't have to be with Strapping Young Lad anymore, unfortunately. But for this album, he really immersed himself back in the writing of it. He was on a lot of medication, antidepressant medication at the time, which he just completely ditched to go into it. This album is fucking psychotic. Imperial is an incredibly great opener. Skeksis is incredible. Some of the instrumentation on this, I would say, is probably their best in terms of like the technicality of it. Devin was working very closely with Gene on the build up to this album. I think they got together all the time rehearsing stuff. Byron was out on the road with Fear Factory. He was their bass player for a while, and there's a documentary that's included with this version. I think it's fairly easy to get hold of. You can certainly watch it on YouTube. And Byron was just constantly phoning when he was out on the road to get updates like how's it sounding. So yeah, Devin and Gene really, really worked hard on this one. Skeksis has got some amazing moments in there. Shitstorm is up there with Oh My Fucking God as one of their most just what the fuck. It's just a man going all out fucking crazy, and it's just so damn fun. Love has one of the greatest riffs. It's just such a fucking catchy song. Shine is a great song. We Ride is really cool. Kind of a nice thrashy vibe to it. Possessions is a really weird one. This was dealing with his fears of committing to. I believe his wife had just gotten pregnant or just given birth. I can't remember whether how far along it was, but I think this was addressing a lot of his fears of becoming a father. I'm going to put this one actually in S tier, but I'm going to put it behind City, and the reason for that is for some of the stuff like this. There's some absolutely amazing tracks, but there's a few tracks, I wouldn't go so far as to say filler, but it just kind of breaks things up a little bit in a way that I'm not sure works so well. 2 Weeks is more of it's not an instrumental because he does sing on it, but it's a very much more ambient, laid back sort of piece that wouldn't have seemed out of place on some of his stuff like Key or Ghost. Maybe not Ghost, but you know what I'm saying. Thalamus really steps things up again, just heavy as fuck. Really enjoy that song. Zen is another really cool track. There's a cool video for that one as well. Really amps up the riffage in that one. And then we have this final track, Info Dump, which is essentially Morse code. I can't remember what the message was intended, but it's like a 12-minute track that's just kind of ambient noise and just discordance and like a Morse code going on. The dan 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 dan. I could go on. That same melody was actually used later in Ziltoid the Omniscient. Was it on the Greys? I can't remember. We Are All Puppets. A fucking amazing album. Definitely more in line with City. But it's just got a few moments in it which it's not as cohesive as City. I think there's just a few moments where it just kind of sags a little bit, but I still think it's a great album. So yeah, there we go. And on July the 11th, 2006, we get the release of The New Black. This is an interesting album because this one definitely feels like, I think Devon's talked about this himself, this was the album that kind of got him out of the contract with Strapping Young Lad, in that he fulfilled all the albums. So this one feels the least like a Strapping Young Lad album. It feels like it's written trying to be a Strapping Young Lad album, if that makes any sense. Now, ironically enough, they were actually at the height of their popularity on this. Later this year, they performed at Download 2006, which I was lucky enough to attend, and their performance was fucking amazing. Devon in particular was on top form. You can actually, is it on here? They've got a compilation album, The Chaos Years, and this is got the DVD, which has got tons of live stuff, loads of videos on there, and it's also got the full performance of their 2006 performance at Download, so it's well worth checking that out. So they were undeniably at the top of their game. They were more popular than ever, and after this, Devon just quit the band. He pretty much did this, and he told everybody, once we toured this album, I'm done. I think the mental toll of the stuff was just really getting to him, and after that he would continue doing solo stuff, which I've already done an album ranking of all his solo stuff, so if you want to go and check that out, by all means do. Having said that, there is some great stuff on here. Decimator itself, the opening track, I'm not a huge fan of. You Suck is fucking great. It's such a fuck you. I think he wrote it originally as a fuck you to the Ozfest crowd. I think he was doing the Ozfest circuit. I might be wrong about that, but I'm sure it was meant to be a fuck you to them being popular in many ways. Like, no, we're not supposed to be popular. The whole point of this band is supposed to be it's a fuck you to the industry and everybody. We don't take this seriously. So it's such a damn good song. The production of this album is quite an interesting one as well. It's very, there's moments in You Suck in particular where you can really feel it. It's just pushing it to the limit. It's just, distorts in ways that it's maybe not supposed to. But Anti-Product is okay. Monument is a really cool track. Really, really interesting track. Very, very cool. Wrong Side is amazing. There's some great footage. The chorus of this song is Devon singing while sweep picking. And it's just incredible. Go and see the live performance of this. I think even Byron, I think, was talking about how he was just blown away every time how Devon was able to just sing while doing this sweep picking pattern. It's absolutely crazy how his brain works. Hope is a decent enough song. Far Beyond Metal, I mentioned this earlier, so this is the studio version that they finally got around to recording, that was originally on No Sleep Till Bedtime. This one features Dave Brockie from Gwar, who is sadly no longer with us. He does a great job of it, but I have to say that I'm not a huge fan of this version. I think I just, you know what it's like, the version you hear first is kind of the one that's stuck in your brain. I think the live version of it is just infinitely better. There's that moment as well. The purpose of this exercise is to accentuate the cheesier part. Fucking love it. And of course the intro when he's talking about the fingerless mittens and the wasp wall hang that he had. Oh, so damn good. Fucker's a decent enough tune. Almost Again is fucking beautiful. A genuinely fantastic song. I think Gene mentioned it's a love song with blast beats. It's great, really cool. Polyphony is another cool track. It's much more clean but nasty at the same time, and The New Black is a fantastic closer. So still some really, really strong songs on this album, but definitely by far the album that probably has the ones that I'm not so keen on. Having said that, it still goes in A tier and it still goes above the debut. There's some great stuff on the debut still, but as I said, there are no bad albums for Strapping Young Lad whatsoever. My discs. My humble discs. So, there you go. That's my Strapping Young Lad album discography. I've been promising it for a long time. I finally did it. It's not as informed as I would have liked it to be, because yet again, I didn't fucking prepare for it in any fucking way. But I feel I'm informed enough with the music that I was just able to riff on it a bit. So, I'm sure there's tons of stuff that I've missed out on it. But anyway, that's the album ranking done. Fucking love Strapping Young Lad. It's so... It really that was one of those bands when they split up. I was really genuinely gutted by it, you know. Of course, Devon has gone on to do some amazing solo stuff. Much of his solo work I would put up there with Strapping Young Lad in terms of how much it means to me and how much has impacted me. Some of the quadrilogy series of albums that he did in particular I thought were absolutely outstanding. But there's something incredibly just special about this band. And like I said, City is just one of those albums that is... It just takes me back to 1997 when I first started listening to it. I listened to that album so damn much, man. It's ingrained in my brain. Heavy is a really heavy thing as well. I listen to it all the time as well. I feel a bit bad about putting that in B tier in many ways, but you know, I think there's better albums. There's better albums. Anyway, so there we go. That's another album ranking in the bag. I'm not going to promise anything else because I don't know when I'm going to get a chance to do another one or what I'm going to do, and you know, that's all the energy gone, isn't it? Farting chair. See ya.